Because it's not like China uses its economic might to punish anybody who challenges their positions on anything. We've seen them use economic coercion. They use it against us when we ask some questions about, where did that little virus come from? What were you guys doing in Wuhan? So it is just opening yourself to so much risk for the country to be dependent on China. And what we are doing is we're exporting our natural resources to them. They are using it to enrich themselves and sell back cheap crap to us. It is an arrangement that I would question whether actually is in our favour anyway. Just because there's a great deal of trade doesn't mean that it's actually enriching the country. We're not having manufacturing here. They're manufacturing over there, selling it back to us. How about using some of those natural resources to have cheap energy so we can have manufacturing jobs here, so we can actually make things here again, because we used to do that.
The bottom line is it was excruciating, it was cringeworthy, it was an embarrassment. I'm afraid Anthony Albanese, wandering around looking like a cheap tourist from a cheap Kontiki tour guide thing, was just excruciating. We are now a vassal state to China. That's the position he's put us in. This is how the Chinese emperor likes it, that you come, you pay tribute. There was even an awful moment where he had to stand around outside the doors to Xi Jinping's room. He wasn't allowed in until the great emperor was ready. You completely demeaned Australia. Anthony Albanese, you should hang your head in shame. Australia is a great, powerful nation. We are mates with the greatest military power in the world. We should be like that with America, the greatest military power that has ever existed. And we used to be like that, and Anthony Albanese's pushed us away. And as Rita says, that will only be to our detriment. And the other huge joke of all this thing was they were wandering around banging on about green hydrogen energy as if we're going to be some weird climate change superpower. It's fantasy built upon stupidity, built upon playing into China's economic greed, basically.
And
James?
indeed, you have to go back and look at the fact that Albanese brought along business leaders. This is what the whole point of this was. It was all about economics, and one of them actually on the trip said that security can be a distraction. Security can be a distraction.
Right.
Now, that tells you all you need to know. And it's really ironic to me that, the great socialist left Labour Prime Minister Anthony Albanese is flying over to China with a bunch of billionaires to line their pockets with green hydrogen and green steel subsidies. I don't think that leaves the average Australian with much.
How much talk was there about, China using slave labour, using
the
Uyghurs, who are being
a third of the world's emissions? That wasn't mentioned.
The human rights abuses that China is guilty of. How much discussion was there about that? We hear about atrocities committed hundreds of years ago that we were all supposed to be ashamed about, have this collective guilt in the West. What about what China's doing now, right now, to its Uyghur population, to any political dissidents? Why is that not being discussed over your 6-day visit?
Exactly, of course, because we're a vassal state.
I think you hit on something, though, really important there, Rita. And that is, you said a moment ago, this is all, we have in the West, we have this colonial guilt. And we feel guilty about having been alleged colonizers and all that sort of thing. So in a way, vassalizing ourselves to a new power like China is almost penitential.
Yes, exactly.